Hello, Victor here, restoremercedes.com. Today I'm working on this 92600 SEL again, and just before it's too late, I decided to make this addition. Now, what have we here? So the exhaust is removed again, and I got this clamps here, and this one right here, and that is going to be a replacement for the one that was absolutely destroyed. Let me actually show you some clamps. I have them. Here they are. Also, these are the clamps that flanges, if you will, came out. So all of them they're all done. It's just like they're all gunners. Now I have to do something with the replacements. So what do we have? The main exhaust manifolds are fine. These are the mains. That's a good thing. And the pipe freed up. This is anti-seize applied to it right now. This clamp here is also broken, so I have this universal one to go over. Now I have the seal itself right here. The seal is put in, so it sits there fine. Just put anti-seize all over as well, just because. And then from the actual pipe, which is this piece right here, I do have a replacement clamp. It's a used one, but I just painted it with the high heat paint that I got. I ordered that high heat paint for the exhaust, ceramic coating, gas, oil resistance, and all that good stuff forever, so it's all fine. This is what it turns out. That's how it actually looks. As you remember in previous videos, this is a weld spots here, so it was painted with silver paint because I didn't want it to rust away, because they're exposed to the open welds, exposed to elements. I sprayed it right away, so just not to have any rust developing. And then after that, I just sprayed with this matte color high heat paint, right? So that's good, and it looks pretty nice. It's fine. So now the same thing I did with these flanges. I had to have these I happen to have these flanges, so this one goes over like that. And because I cannot put the flange over this pipe because of the sizing here, right? So it's like it's expanded, so I have to have this clamp that actually opens up like a clamshell, so I can open it up and put it back down, close it back. All right, so that is that. So I can use one of the originals, and I use one of the other clamps, which is in this area. Actually, it's not really that important. It doesn't matter. It's just, this clamp, the flange, pushes into the seal. It compresses the seal, and then it just makes the seal to be tight, right? The same thing is going to happen with the rear exhaust section here. This is the catalytic converter. I also had the flange, original flange, that goes over in there, right over that. I did not apply anti-seize yet, but the clamp would go, the flange would go something like this once I install the actual catalytic back in place. This is still loose because I need to position it to my liking when I install the piping. Right, so that is that. The starter came in wrong starter, so original one is still in place, waiting for the proper starter. These guys, when you go get parts, you have problems with these parts. It's just the way it is. So the starter is there. Now we're gonna look under the car, and what do we have here? Just like an update, like I said, even for myself. Now the starter is back in place because I removed it. I was gonna change the starter, and that was my fault. I should have not removed the old starter because I should have looked at the new one first. But that's it. I don't know, it always happens to me. It's like I trust somebody, I'm way too trustworthy, I guess. So I removed the old starter, and then I opened the box with the new one, the replacement one, and I find it wrong, so I put that starter back in. But the thing is because exhaust is out, it's very easy to actually work with the starter bolts. When the exhaust is back in place, it's going to be more difficult, but I will do it regardless. I've done it before with exhaust in place. Now next, the motor mount. This is the new motor mount because again it's easier to work with no exhaust to replace the motor mount. Not that much easier, but still helps a little bit. So the motor mount is replaced, one bolt broke off, the other one is fine, so the new engine mount on the right side is in place. And what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to replace the transmission mount here next. I know it's late, but it is what it is. I'll do that. Transmission mount is flat, absolutely dead, so we have to do that. The transmission is a replacement dealer transmission. Here's the plug right here. So this is the original dealer transmission. It's not a rebuild, it's a dealer unit, Mercedes dealer transmission, not some sort of replacement piece. Now this flange right here might not look too great, but I'm not touching this because it's not going to create noise, believe it or not, because the pipe slides inside like deep up to here, so it's fine. As long as there is some there, it's gonna be okay, although it does not look very pretty, but it doesn't matter. That's going to work just fine. Now here we have to deal with the padding here, whatever, I'll deal with it later, and the end of the catalytic converter. Now here I have flanges. One of them was broken into two, just this piece right here, as you can see it. This is a gunner. The donut that was leaking in previous video, this is where the leak would come on, exhaust leak. And we have the actual pipes. Now here I managed to save the clamp on the catalytic converter, the driver's side catalytic. I punched out the bolts. This clamp is obviously old, original and whatever, but it's going to work just fine. And then I also managed to punch out the old rusted bolts out of the clamp on the driver's side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse these two. That makes my life a little easier. Put the seal in here, new donut in there, and then I'm gonna use universal clamp on this side, universal clamp on this side. Okay, and that is the idea. So that should work just fine, and it's all going to be nice. Now this is the broken bolt that I punched out from one of the flanges. Okay, so this is a new donut. This new donut right here, this goes back in there, right in there. When I had my shop back in the days, it was so much easier to work on the exhaust, but because it's on the lift, but now it's not, so I have to do what I have to do. So next thing is, see, right now the exhaust is pushed backwards. It's easier to pull the catalytics and all that good stuff. So right now I'm going to start with the front portion first. Again, do the transmission mount while I'm at it. It's going to be easier for me to do that. Might not even have to drop the whole well, I mean, probably will have to. Now these things are also loose. I have to tighten these up, and I want to finish the catalytic, the exhaust really on. I have to do this. I have to finish the exhaust. This is just the agenda. I have to meet my agenda, and then when the new starter comes in, then I'll have to do it the hard way. But it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. I'll get it out. I'll get it out. Yeah. Well, also somebody missed the. I'm sure this is the lift. Somebody put the car on the lift and they missed it. As you can see, this plastic like being all messed up, and the jack points are also missing. Not a big deal. I mean, they're like $15 a piece. I can put them in. but right now I use a wooden block to bring the car up and down. All right, so ignition module is also delivered. I haven't touched the ignition module yet because I have some wires, but I'll deal with the ignition module maybe before I start the engine. I put the replacement one, but before I put the replacement one, I bolt it down. I'm obviously going to connect it and, you know, test the module, make sure it works properly before I permanently put it on, because I have to put the heat paste, you know, heat transfer paste, and I don't want to waste it if that module is no good or whatever. I mean, you always double check. And the exhaust manifold bolts, they obviously will have to be coated with anti-seize as well. These are the exhaust bolts, these are the manifold bolts. So that's two of them. There are other two laying around somewhere. Yeah, right there. These are the other two. These are the other two. So I'm just gonna put them there. So I'm gonna recoat them with anti-seize. And yeah, transmission mounts next, and then after that, exhaust is going back in, tightened up and secured, and I'm not touching it anymore. It should be nice and quiet. And starter, well, I'll deal with the starter later when I get a replacement piece. Yeah, I might have to coat the anti-seize in the back there, so I don't want this to be replaceable at this point. Well, maybe I'll show you the engine mount that I removed. The engine mount that I removed was not absolutely collapsed. It was actually more or less decent. Usually they're way worse than that, and look at the height. The replacement mount is one other replacement mount, if we will. I have to open it anyway. Let's just do that right now. It's just to compare the height between one and on the other. Alright, so here we have it. There's two mounts here. As you can see, this one is semi-collapsed versus the new one. Well, I don't know if camera shows that well. Or what can we do? Well, maybe we can this is, you know, it's like I said, it's not absolutely blown, because I saw a receipt showing that the mount was replaced at some point. As you can see, it's not really that much collapsed, just went down slightly. But anyway, you do want to replace the new mount regardless, because here, how much did it go down? Quarter? But again, it's not most accurate test, just saying. All right, so that's that. I got some stainless steel bolts that I got at the store, some washers and what have you. I just want a little more because I always need some washers and some different bolts and nuts and what have you. Here's the ignition module in the bag that I have to check. I have to install. I got some more things. The donut. This donut right here, this is the seal for the catalytic original part. And that one I need to install. This one is empty, and I bought an extra one for the other side just in case, because I could. So it's not going to be in use. I thought I will need it, but I'm not going to need it. I do have the tow hook cover supports here that I'm going to also install, and I think that's all for parts. Yep, that's about all for parts. This is the clamp, that's how it looks like. This is the 2.5. Was it 2.5 or 2.25? I don't remember already. Take a look what we have here. Okay, 2.5s for the catalytic to the resonator, and we have a smaller one for, where is the smaller one? We have a smaller one for the, oh, 2 inches, right. Here's the bag. This one is a 2-inch one, because this pipe is smaller than the pipe in the back. It's two different sizes. This is like a 2-inch one, although it's a little bigger than the original, but it's gonna work. Okay, just continue working, and if I'll make another addition to this video, I will. If I won't, then this would be the end of the video. Okay, so let's see where we are at the moment. Late night, and this is going to be a first test start. Now, the rear clamps here, flanges, this one I found, I had one of these bolts, a stainless steel replacement bolts. This is the original. This is loose right now, but the seal is installed. Now, in this department, this is the original. This is the replacement clamp. Unfortunately, I didn't have the shorter bolts, so I had to put the long one in here. But this one is more or less tight. And the reason why this one is tight is because there is a donut in there, and donut has to be clamped together tight. Otherwise, we have a serious exhaust leak. Here we have a seal, and this is not very important at the moment. New transmission mount right there, if it can be visible. Yeah, right there. Transmission mount is replaced. The brackets here have to be readjusted because whatever it is, what it is, doesn't matter. It's just like, I'll explain what I'm doing in a minute. Now, here we had the broken clamp on this side. That cannot be replaced because the pipe is enlarged, so I can't do anything about it. But this is the horseshoe clamp, so I can actually, you know, just put it in and what have you. So this is also loose, but the seal is in place right there. So seal is in place. Now everything else, yeah, there's some loose pieces, what have you, but right now everything is in place. So now we can actually start this engine. That's what I'm going to do next. The engine bay first. Double check the engine bay, make sure everything is okay here. Nothing is loose. This one is okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't see anything. Yeah, I never left anything under the hood anyway. All right, so let's go and connect the battery right now. Yeah, I know it's late at night, but my usual videos doesn't matter. They're all like this. So the battery connection. Alright, so we got the battery connection. With the battery connection, I'll just do just a little snug. That's enough. Alright, now we're going to start this engine and listen to what we have in terms of the exhaust noise, because that's very annoying. By the way, this is the old transmission mount. As you can see, it's absolutely collapsed. That is to be thrown away. In terms of collapsed, this is the mount without any load. So you imagine that you have this little space between the mount and the base, and you would imagine the second you would put any load on it, it's just gonna drop down right on its base, on the frame of the mount itself. These are the old brackets, so all of these are going to go into garbage. Now, the way the car is, let's start it up. Now, I have not changed ignition module. There are some other things to be dealt with, but let's just start it up anyway. Yeah, here's some. Where at? Where is the sound? This is the smoke from the exhaust. Is quiet. I have to still deal with the engine, don't get me wrong. I mean, all this smoke is just like unburnt fuel from engine not running properly. That is not the problem, but I have no leak here. That's most important area right here. This is very cold because I just started the car after, well, now it's getting hot, so can't touch it anymore. But let's just wait for the air pump to shut down, and then we'll look it up. Now this area here, there's still a little bit. I think it's the manifold up there. I have to tighten that up. Yeah, but I want to have the air pump shut down so I can hear it in detail. Right now, I don't hear any exhaust leak, even with clamps loose. That is a good sign. Very good sign. I want to get that air pump to shut down because I think the valve is loose. That's what I think. It sounds like it. That's what I thought it was in the beginning, but apparently it wasn't. So we're just gonna wait for a few seconds, and there goes. Okay, so now no air pump activated. Oh, yeah. Well, that is actually quiet. Yes, sir. That is finally a quiet exhaust. Oh God. So finally it's quiet. It's the only thing you hear is something is spinning in the engine bay. Wow, this is nice. Very quiet. I don't know if camera picks it up, but that's on the bottom. I'll put this thing down here. Yeah. Of course there's some noise from the mufflers themselves because they're designed to quieten the noise, but this is as quiet as we get. Wow, this is nice. Okay, so, oh yeah, exhaust. Well, obviously exhaust at the end will make some sound, obviously, right? This is condensation. All the vapors, but that's the excellent result. This thing is quiet. Wow, this is nice. I like that. All right, so this is going to be basically all, because I still have to deal with the ignition module, transmission mount and engine mount that I replaced. That is not to be tested right now because we still have ignition timing off, so that doesn't matter. Right now the idea here is that late at night I can start the car and it is quiet, Just the engine, that's all you hear. No more exhaust noise. Alright, so I'm gonna get down to tighten up all the flanges right now. So therefore I'm gonna shut the car down. I ordered another starter that's on its way. Hopefully I'll get it sooner than later. So I'm still using the old one just to start the car because it's weak, it's shorted out, but I can still start the engine. That's all that that matters to me at the moment. But I do want to be done with the exhaust finally, so I get this thing silent. And it is. It's like the only thing you hear is the motor. Now the fan. So that's it. This is the result, and I'll cut it quits for tonight. I'll finish this video. I'll get the clamps, flanges tightened up, and off we go for the next job. Next jobs. There's so many other things to be done with this car, but right now this is it. For today, it's done. Exhaust. Today is the exhaust. Exhaust is finished. So this is all. Victor here, RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.